Hello, welcome to part two. We're looking at how the best jazz pianists, in my opinion, the best jazz pianists, they use the diminished scale. I'm going to try and go at the speed that everyone likes, but if you find it's going too slow, I do encourage you to use the time codes I put down below, just so you want it to go a little faster, because I know I look for that when I watch YouTube videos. So this first example is by Powell. The song is Reets I. We're following a transcription that I have already on my channel, so you can look that up as well if you're interested in the whole piece. I'm going to start by just quickly playing the bit that we're talking about to begin with, and then we'll go into further detail. Here we go. And that's it. So the part where it's got the diminished scale is in bar 23 to bar 24. It's spread across 2 pages, so I'm just going to zoom out for a second so you can see what and it's basically got that like that, and then it takes us back to the original theme here afterwards in F. So it's in the key of F major, and you're probably feeling like, well, this is like a 2-5-1, but without all the 2-5-1 harmonies like you get there. We're taking away all that. It's just a simple, the root note, the G, with a bit of diminished scale there, and then a bit of the diminished scale over C, which ends up turning nicely into this C7 chord with all these extensions added on top. So it's based on All God's Children Got Rhythm, which has got more traditional harmony, and but Bud Powell's made it more kind of what Thelonious Monk and his own influences, stripped away the harmony, just the root, and then the diminished scale there. So yeah, to me that's really creative. I really like this. I also want to quickly mention that if you're looking at that G minor 7 and thinking the choice of notes above it more likely spells something like a G diminished chord, yeah, you're right there, but what I'm trying to say is that it functions like a 2-5-1. We're replacing the usual what you'd expect here, and I think because our ears are so used to that pattern, we can get away with more ambiguous harmony like that, or yeah, this is actually more ambiguous, this. I hope that makes sense. So in this example we're looking at Hank Jones doing a cover of Duke Ellington's What Am I Here For? Let's have a listen. So that's what's going on there. So let's focus on the bit that actually has the diminished scale in it, which is in bar 6. I can barely reach with my handspan. Like that. So what's going on here? Well, we've got this C in the bass, but we're using a C sharp diminished scale. And from that scale you find you can create, this is what they call a drop 2 voicing, and then you can create diminished chords from that diminished scale. It has lots of interesting properties like that. Let's take a step back and look at the simplified version of it. So it's in E flat major, chord 1. Now Duke Ellington, I believe he doesn't actually go to C. That's Hank Jones doing that to get in all that dissonance. I believe Duke Ellington is like that, and then with this melody it's harmonized in that sort of way. I'm not going to go into the exact notation of Duke Ellington's version as well, and it's in different key and all that stuff. but we can see it's heavily based on that. And yeah, I'm not going to speculate as to whether he was thinking of the diminished scale when he was doing this bit, but I think it's just useful to notice that you can, if you want to create that big band sound on your piano, the diminished scale is a useful springboard to get a nice crunchy sound out of it. And once you're there, you don't have to stick to it strictly, because if you look at the following bar, it's not following any particular scale. Where does it go? So just here we've got that F minor 7, and then we get this kind of diminished sequence of diminished chords here. So it's like a little combination of diminished chords. So it sort of sounds almost like you're staying within the diminished scale, but not quite. It's a useful springboard in that way. So in this example, we're looking at Bill Evans playing Blue and Green, Take 2. Let's play the extract. So there's a very brief moment there. It's during that run, the second bar that you can see. I'll play it. So where was it? The second bar, as I said. And then you could argue as to where the diminished scale actually starts there. Does it start on the A? Or does it start on the F sharp? Well, there's no real way of telling. It's because basically we come from here, from the D minor scale. We're on a G minor 7 chord, but it's much easier to think of it as on the D minor scale because it's in the key of D minor. Or we can call it the G minor Dorian if you prefer. And it sounds great. And then here, there's that crossover point because they both share 2 notes. I believe they share more than notes now. They do, yeah. But this is the crossover point where they overlap. They both share an A and a G, so that it merges really well from one scale into the other. In fact, it's not even going from one scale, it's going from an arpeggiated F major 7, as an extension on that chord, and to a scale, to another scale, back to D minor, and then chromatic stuff. I'm finding that Bill Evans, he really is the best at doing his runs where he just goes from several scales and arpeggiated chords in one go. It's incredible. But that's the important thing, is that there's that crossover point. That's what makes it sound so well, sound so good. If you look at my other transcription, this isn't my transcription, by the way. I found this from looking at the Blue and Green one on YouTube. It's the main one. I made some tiny corrections, but it's really good. It's a really good transcription. My own transcription is of him doing, I forget the name of it, Easy Living, and there's a similar run, which is just incredible. It's not the diminished scale, but I'm digressing now. Just that, what's going on there. It's got this kind of, we're in E flat major, then it goes into G altered with a F sharp as a kind of passing note to kind of join the two together, because that's the other way to join 2 different scales, is a bit of chromaticism, not just looking for overlapping notes. And then taking us to our target E with a kind of chromatic enclosure. That was a massive digression, but I think it kind of helps seeing the bigger picture. Yeah, the diminished scale is kind of it's on its own, it's quite raw, quite hard to deal with, but if you're a master like Bill Evans, you know how to just put it in the middle of things, just seamlessly. So that's definitely something you would want to work on.